Hello everyone. I am back with another video. Today's video is going to be a companion video to my previous most used bags of 2020. And I know we're midway through May, I get it, but I still wanted to share my least most used bags of 2020. So as I mentioned in my most used bags of 2020 video, last year was the first time I've actually started tracking my bags and how often I use them. So it's been really insightful for me and I've kept it up now in 2021. It's really helpful to see how much I actually use a bag, how much use I'm actually getting. And now that I'm looking to pare down my collection a little bit, it's helping with that decision to decide what I actually let go based on what I actually use. So today we're going to go through my 8 least used bags of 2020, and if you want to see the list, keep watching. Alright, so let's take a look at this list. Keep in mind that this list is a little different from previous years. So I can say like some of the bags on this list I feel like I would have used more than I used them last year because it was COVID, it was the pandemic, everybody was stuck at home, so I wasn't really going out to any events or anything like weddings where I'd usually use some of these bags, so I know I would use them more frequently if it had been like a normal year. So I'm keeping some of these things with a grain of salt. I know that like some of these bags I still really love and have zero plans of getting rid of, but others I'm like, yeah, I can see why I barely use these bags. So let's start with the top of the bottom of the list and let's look at the bags that I used once last year. Only once. So the first bag that I only used once last year was my Chanel wallet on chain. I love this bag. It is so handy. It is my go-to for evenings or formal events. If I need a little sort of clutch, this is obviously a perfect size. It fits everything I need, and I love that it has like the internal compartments as well. Like it's got the zipper pockets and everything, and it's got the card pockets back here that I'm not sure you can see on camera because of the tissue paper in the way, but it's got all that organization, so it's great. It's perfect size, it's durable because of the caviar leather, and it has a crossbody if I need it. So I love this bag. No plans to get rid of it, but I only used it for one wedding last year because that's the only wedding I was able to attend. The next bag that I used only once last year was my Prada Tote. Let's get that in camera. So this bag goes by a couple different names. Most frequently I think it's the Saffiano double zip tote, but I think it also goes by like the BN2274. It's also gone by the Galleria. So it's got a number of different names, and the reason I used this once last year was because I went into the office once. I originally bought this as a work bag, but ended up not using it that often because it just felt too much to bring a designer bag like this into the office, and it was quite heavy, and because I take like the subway and stuff, like it was annoying to have to hold something that was this heavy, so I don't end up using this that often, and even in a normal year, I just sort of use it as like a, if I have some sort of like a special occasion after work, then I usually bring this. But yeah, I only used it once last year because I went into the office to grab something, but otherwise I've been working from home, so I've had no other really use for this per se. But yeah, I only used it once last year, but I still do enjoy this bag. I still do like it a lot. The next bag that I only used once last year was my Balenciaga City. I have done a review for this bag. I'm going to try and link it in the annotation cards if I remember, so you can see my full review on this bag. I used this once to go to a spa with friends, and as I mentioned in my review video, I love it for that because it's just so handy to throw everything in. It fits everything, and it's so carefree just because it's so like soft and smushy. But I've cooled on this bag. I think I don't like how busy it is. I don't like all the sort of motorcycle details on it. So I am actually considering selling this one, even though I've had it for so long and I've used it so much. I know this is a bag that I reach for when I want something that's carefree that I don't have to worry about. So it's become a little bit of a bash bag for me, and I don't know, I just don't reach for it as much anymore. I love using it because it's so comfortable, but I just don't like the bag itself, if that makes sense. It's weird. I don't know, my feelings are weird with this bag, but I am planning to sell this one. I know it's super popular right now, or it's had a little bit of a revival, so I'm hoping I can get some good money back on this one. But yeah, this one's a meh. The next bag that I used only once this year was my Louis Vuitton Speedy. Let's get this in frame. My Louis Vuitton Speedy in the size 30. This was my, like many girls I'm sure, my very first designer bag that I ever purchased. And I got my initials stamped on it. I wish I hadn't in hindsight because it makes it that much harder to part with. It does have some sentimental value, like it was made in France. It was obviously my first bag and I had a really great experience purchasing it. The essay was just so nice and like so kind and understanding of how like nervous I was to hold it for the first time and that sort of thing. So lots of good memories associated with this bag, but I just don't reach for it. I kind of don't like the zipper top style, just how sort of awkward it is to get in and out of. I really love like my open zip or open top tote that I have with my garden party, that like that style better. So I don't know, like I go back and forth on selling this one. I know I won't get as much because I have the embroidery on it, or not embroidery, I forget what it's called, but like the stamp, it's like heat stamped, that's what it is. Because it's heat stamped, I won't get as much back on it, so I go back and forth on whether it's worth selling. I don't know, but yeah, I used this once last year because I wanted something that was like not black to wear in the summertime. Yeah. And now we're moving on to the bags that I didn't use once last year. I used them 0 times. It feels like such a waste for them to be sitting in my closet, and I'm really trying to be conscious of that these days, of having things that don't just sit around. I want to be able to make sure that I'm using things and it's not just collecting dust. And some of these bags I do still love, so I have no plans to get rid of some of them, but others I'm like, yeah, maybe it's time. Maybe this is a sign. So the first bag is my Chanel medium large flap. This is a vintage version from 1992, I believe, and one of the first bags that I ever bought from my collection. And I went with the vintage because I wanted to get lambskin for my medium large flap. I had a jumbo flap that I also got that was in caviar because I knew it would be more casual, but this I wanted to be like a little bit more, I guess, formal. But over time I've come to realize that like the lambskin has made me very scared to use, especially because it's vintage. There is some color fading, like it's not quite like a deep black like I know it used to be when I first purchased it. And I think I finally made the decision this year that I want to upgrade to like a modern version, to get like a classic caviar black flap, because I think it'll be something that I'm less afraid of using. I know there's a lot of like positives to the vintage, like you have the real gold plating and stuff, but I want something that I'm not terrified of using, and I'm terrified of using this. Like the puffs have already sort of gone down, like I don't know, I know that like Chanel doesn't really have a spa service like Hermes does, so this is never gonna look better than it does now. It's just gonna continue to deteriorate. So I don't know, like I really do feel like this year I want to sell this one and upgrade to get a caviar flap, although I wish I'd done it years ago because the prices are insane. The next bag that I didn't use at all last year was my Louis Vuitton Eva clutch. This is one of the first Louis Vuitton bags I bought, I think, and I love the azure, like the demi azure print. Honestly, I think that's the only reason it stayed with me for so long. I don't like the zip top. I feel like it just sort of, you have to play Tetris with this bag, otherwise it gets very misshapen very quickly. The inventory plate scratches very easily, and I just don't like it anymore the way I used to. Oh, the strap is also very long. I am planning to do a little review on this, but this is one that I think I'm planning to sell this year. It's not worth hanging on to if it's just because I love the color, so I think this one I may be parting with, and it's also discontinued by Louis Vuitton, so it's gonna be, if I do change my mind, I don't think I will, but if I do change my mind it would be very hard to get back. But yeah, I'm not so as enamored with this one as I once was. The The next bag that I didn't use at all last year was my Fendi Micro Peekaboo. I have a video on my channel that amassed quite a few views showing what fits in this bag. And I think it's so cute. I love the peekaboo style, and in hindsight, I wish I'd gone the one size up. I don't know what possessed me to buy this micro size. I do know what it is. Social media and influencers made me think that this was a good choice. And I still, like, I love the shape of the bag. It does fit like a decent amount for its size, but just because of like everything that we've had to carry during the pandemic, like fitting mask, hand sanitizer, gloves, or whatever else you bring with you, it didn't really fit in here, and so it just didn't make sense for me to use this much last year. And I didn't have any formal events to go to either, so I just didn't have much opportunity to use this even so. So yeah, I still like this bag. I know I wouldn't get much for it if I were to resell it, so I debate whether I want to part with this, but it's very cute. I love the color. This is my absolute favorite color, blue, and it's the only bag I own in this type of color, so I don't know. We'll see what happens to this, and it's so soft. Last bag on this list, and another bag I didn't use once last year, is the Chloe Drew. This is the mini size in the Maudie Gray color. I love this bag. I know it was popular a couple of years ago and it's kind of lost steam. I don't think Chloe even sells it anymore. I remember trying to find it at one point and I couldn't on their site or in store. So I guess it's not as popular as it used to be for sure, but it's one I still love. I love this color. It goes with everything. It just, like, no matter what the color is, it makes everything look very springy and bright. So I love this color. I love the shape of the bag. I love the gold tone with it. This like whole I don't know, latchkey thing doesn't bother me. Like, I'm okay with it. So yeah, I love this bag. I just didn't use it. This is really more of like a wedding go-to bag usually for me, and because it is on the smaller side, it doesn't fit as much. So again, pandemic supplies that I wanted to bring with me didn't quite fit in here without playing some Tetris, so I just didn't reach for it. But this isn't one that I'm planning to get rid of, because once I get rid of the other bags that I have sitting in my closet, it'll be literally the only non-black bag that I own. So I still love this one and don't plan to get rid of it, but yeah, I didn't use it at all last year. So that is the list, guys. Those are my least used bags of 2020. I hope you enjoyed the video and got to drool over bags a little bit with me. Let me know what your least used bag is. I'm always curious to see how much people actually use the things that they buy. I think it's a really insightful measure of how much they actually love the item, and it's just a nice little like quick review to show you how useful the bag is, I feel. So let me know what you think down in the comments. Let me know what your least used bag of 2020 was. I'd love to hear from you. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe if you want to see more of my content. Thanks so much, guys, for watching. I hope you have a great day. Bye.